Yes, hello. Oh no, I thought you were someone else. No, no problem at all. So what can I do for you, officer? Eric. Yes, I know him. Yeah, I haven't seen him. Oh, he's been missing for the past 3 days. Well, that's crazy. Nothing like that ever happens in a town like this. I hope there's nothing too serious going on. Well, yes, the last I seen him was a week ago. Yeah, so I usually babysit my neighbor's kid. He comes around, and last week he came with Eric, and yeah, we had some dinner and read some stories, and we fell asleep. And in the morning, they were both gone. Figured they went to school or went back to their house. I mean, it's not too far away from here, so no one's really too cautious about it, letting the kids go off on their own. But yeah, I haven't seen Eric since then. Yeah, sorry, it can get a little messy around. I like to hunt. Yeah, rabbits, deers, and other small growls. Yeah, it can get a little bit messy. It was just about cleaning off, actually, because the neighbor's kid that I babysit usually comes around this. Hey, yeah, he's here. No worries, officer. If there's anything else I can do let me know. I'm over here. I will do. Thank you, officer. Have a nice day. What was that? Nothing for you to worry about. Kitty, come inside, okay? So, it seems that Eric's gone missing. Do you know anything? Yeah, it's a little weird, isn't it? But don't worry. You're safe with me, okay? But maybe you shouldn't wander around like you did last time. Just to be safe, okay? Oh, it's thundering. Such a bad omen. It's kind of a bad day today, isn't it? Anyways, how was your mac and cheese? Oh yeah, I put extra cheese in it, so it's nice and gooey today. Yeah, well, thunder isn't always a bad thing, I guess. You're right. It can be quite cozy, especially when you're reading stories under the blanket. Yeah, okay, then let's head upstairs. Yeah, sorry I fell asleep the other day. I was so tired from digging. Anywho, if I remember correctly, we were at... Yeah, so the bedtime stories in the last I read. We are here, where our protagonist has lost everything truly because of this little monster that kept haunting him since childhood, and he has a plan. He had brought them to a cliff. This is where we are. I turned slowly. I wanted to cry. I wanted to leave, run into the night, but I'd stay. I could not allow it to escape. I was staring at it, and it at me, hunched over, covered by darkness, contorted, gaunt, hands seized as if fighting rigor mortis. It slowly moved towards me. One bony leg cracked and groaned as it slid over my lap and onto the other side. Oh God, it was sitting on me. It pulled itself in close to me and threw a a shot of light provided by the moon, I saw its face. Skin hung from its jagged features. Glassy eyes stared deep into me as its grin spread up through its face. Unnaturally wide as the result of its half-rotten flesh, exposing the rotten muscles, broken teeth, and sinews of its rancid smile beneath. Pulling closer, it opened its mouth, revealing a wet and putrid tongue, which could be seen through part of its missing jaw. Wheezing and breathing heavily, a foul stench which stung my eyes and filled my mouth elicited a response from me as I retched, my body attempting to expel its poisonous fumes, and as I did so it stopped for a moment, and then cackled to itself. Happy, content, staring into its icy cold eyes, it yet gave the impression of an afflicted and increasingly weak old man. It was still incredibly strong, but it seemed as though it had lost some of its potency. Perhaps leaving that elongated room had somehow affected it. Its long protruding fingers caressed my face, and then as a show of intent, it stuck one of them deep into my shoulder. I screamed as it bent and twisted inside of me, the rotting fiend moving its fingers to cause the maximum amount of damage and pain that it could. As it did so, its other hand slid down against my body. It touched me. It was time. With my free arm, I turned on the ignition, and though my shoulder was still pinned to the seat, I managed to fight through the pain, put the car into gear, and took off as fast as I could. The creature flailed and screamed. It attempted to climb over me into the back seat, but I held on with all my strength. The thought of what it did to Mary enough to fuel my rage. We raced towards the edge of the cliff, and I eyed the driver's door frantically as we neared our icy plunge. I screamed in anger at its festering, rancid face and pushed it off me. It scrambled into the back seat for dear life as I scrambled for mine by unlocking the car door. It was too late. The car carried over the cliff face, and before I knew it, we hit the dark water, splitting the black glass-like surface with tremendous force. I should have died then, but an airbag took the brunt of my impact, although I still managed to scrape my head across the door frame. Dazed, I looked around. The sound that I heard coming from that thing was malformed yet familiar. The squeal of some demonic child soon gave way to the anguish and rage of an ancient intelligence which knew that it faced almost certain death. The water was frozen and poured in through the now twisted open car door with such force that it winded me. I gasped for air as my unwilling prey now did. It writhed and twisted as it looked for an exit. Spying the open door, it pulled itself through the water towards me. I curled up my fist and smashed it into that thing's face. Pieces of rotten flesh flaked off under the impact as a dark black liquid oozed from this resulting wound. Again, it attempted to get past me, and I knew that to keep it in that car long enough to drown, that I would have to die with it. I felt numb as the frozen water slipped over my chin. My heart struggled against the cold, and with a sudden surge, I was submerged and had breathed my last. I held my breath, but only to compose and ready myself for an icy, suffocating death. I hoped that it would not be painful. My thoughts returned to Mary and my family. An all-consuming sense of sadness and despair overwhelmed me. But as I struggled with that thing trying to get past me and through the door, grabbing and flailing with its arms, I looked down and saw it. Its legs was trapped between the dashboard and floor of the car by the impact of the fall, was lying in my bed, waiting, a white sheet covering its emaciated body from sight. The human mind is a wonderful thing. Just as you believe your body has reached a level of exhaustion that it cannot recover from, that your emotions are so frayed that you feel you cannot continue, a thought spring as if miraculous from a weary mind. Let it rest, for now. I quietly crept through the dark and picked up my wallet, which I had left on a small coffee table in the center of my living room. Leaving the door unlocked, I left to attend to a new plan and return an hour later. With a moment's preparation, I slipped into the spare room. There I lay in that unsullied bed waiting. I was sure that this was the end game. That instead of toying with me, it would come for the kill. How I had escaped that watery grave I did not know, but I would be damned if it would escape again. I could only hope that it would sense me from the other room. I closed my eyes, pretending to be sound asleep. Time lumbered onwards, and although I fought it, exhaustion finally took me, sending me into a deep slumber. I woke with its hand around my neck. It coughed and spluttered on top of me, a rancid black liquid dripping on my face as it oozed from its facial wounds. I struggled, gasping for air and hoping that I had the strength of me to escape its grasp, but it was too strong, and my hands could not grip it with any sense of conviction, as it seemed to be dripping wet from its plunge into the lake. It may not have seemed rational at the time, but as my vision dimmed and the last light of consciousness extinguished within me, I did as so many animals do in their last moments. I played dead. Lying motionless, holding my breath, it shook me violently by the neck and then released me. I waited for my moment, my last chance to destroy this thing. Its labored breathing relaxed slightly and seemed to stare at me almost quizzically. I waited still for a shift of weight which might have let me throw it to the ground. Leaning down close to me, its wide, grumbling sneer puckered, gathering its putrid saliva in its mouth, and with what was left of its cheek, it then showed utter contempt for the living and the dead. It spat its festering fluid onto my face, the remnants dripping down onto me through a hole in its jaw. I wanted to scream, to do anything to remove such a vile smear on my skin, but I dared move. The time was not right. Leaning in closer, it prodded and scratched at the wound in my shoulder, the pain shearing through my body with all of my resistance. I remained motionless. Then it slowly and patiently slid two of its long, distended fingers into my mouth. The taste was overwhelming, rancid, rotten, dead. The athletic clicking of its knuckles shook my resolve as it arched its back in glee. It suddenly pushed its finger deep down into my throat. I gagged, in an instinctive reaction. Instead of being shocked, a garbled laugh emanated through its broken teeth as it thrust its finger deeper into my mouth. I felt its cold, hard flesh scraping against the inside of my throat, bleeding without words for it to stop. In our darkest moments, we sometimes find our true strength. I rolled to my side, using its waist against it, and finally managed to break free. I fell onto the floor, its long reach grasping at my feet. I kicked and screamed, and at last was free. It stared at me, only for a moment. Rising up on top of the bed, its brittle bones cracking under its own force, it now towered tall and gaunt, ready to pounce. senses. All. As a groan, shrieked, cracked, and contorted, readying itself to pounce, in one swift motions, I removed a blanket from the floor, revealing a bucket filled with gasoline which had bought in that short time of preparation. I threw it as hard as I could, the liquid splashing all over that horror and the bed. It grinned at me, mocking my very existence, making light of my pain and agony that it had caused. From my pocket, I pulled out a lighter, lit it, and threw it onto the wretched thing. It writhed and screamed in agony, parts of its flesh crumbling away, searing into nothing in front of my very eyes. I almost felt sorry for it. Let it burn. The fire got out of hand. Thankfully, a neighbor heard the screams and saw the smoke, calling the fire brigade. I remember nothing of how I escaped. I spent several hours in hospital being treated for light smoke inhalation and painful burns to my hands. It still hurts as I type, but as with many superficial wounds, they will heal. Perhaps there will be a few scars, but I can live with that. The police arrested me shortly, believing me a murderer. They suspect that I killed someone in the fire and find it entirely suspicious that I have a deep wound in my shoulder and scratches over my body. I've been told not to stray far in case they wish to ask me further questions, but they can ask away. I doubt they'll believe me my answers. They found no remains, nor any evidence that someone else was there, bar a strange outline of a figure etched deep into the bed and wall. It looked as though whatever had been there attempted an escape, but I do not think it accomplished this. A weight has now been lifted from my shoulders, one which now realize was always there since I was a child. In fact, I believe that thing had an effect on me even from distance, and now that it is gone, I feel whole again. I am devastated that I've lost Mary and my house can be written off as I'll probably charge with arson after they realize I started the fire, which means I can kiss goodbye to any insurance claim. My hands ache as does my shoulder, but my spirit does not. I'm writing this from a hotel room. It's small and unassuming, but it will suit my purpose. Tonight I intend to sleep and dream as I did as a child before the wretched invaded my life. I believe that it was my rationality which saved me, my logical thought which allowed me to destroy such an evil, but I will never escape the conclusion that there is much more to life beyond the veil, out there in the darkness. It is a world I have seen, and do not care to revisit, but tonight I will rest, and tomorrow I will build my life again, with the confidence that my unwelcome guest is gone forever. I can feel it. I know it. It will take time for me to adjust, and perhaps my mind will play a trick or two along the way. It is difficult to abandon the paranoia of a lifetime. I must learn to accept my safety once again. I refuse to be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my days, but I will always be cautious, as I was when I was in the hospital this morning, lying on a bed in a quiet ward. I thought I felt the bed shake for the briefest of moments, but I know that it was just my imagination. I am glad I have written down my experiences. It illuminated much about myself to me, and most importantly, should anyone ever, God forbid, find themselves in a similar situation, then maybe you will know what to do. Now it is bedtime and I must rest, for I have never known a weariness such as this. Good night, and sleep tight. The end. Wow, She's still a little bit shaken from the cups earlier. Yeah, I know, such a small town. Crimes don't happen around here. But you shan't be afraid. You have me. Being your babysitter. I promise you I'll keep you safe no matter what. There'll be nothing that can come between us. I promise you that, okay? And now that we've finished this, our stories, what do you want to read next? Yeah, maybe that's a good idea. Taking a break from horror. Do you want to read it like science fiction, maybe? You know, space and black holes and whatnot, and aliens. Actually, thinking about space makes me feel existential, and that might be even more scary than a horror story.